I am somebody who has a lot of stress in my life. We own a business, we pastor a church, we have 4 kids, just a lot of stress, a lot of opportunities for stress, I should say. It was just 2 years ago in August that I had some alarming symptoms where I actually thought maybe I'd had a heart attack or something. Just I knew my body was not well. And I was tired of just getting medicines to cover up what was happening in my body. And so I reached out to a friend who I know is very much into natural remedies. And she's from out of state, but I asked her if she had any recommendations for a natural doctor in the Des Moines area. And she recommended Livewell, and she had a friend who had already come here and had great success. It's actually the informational meeting that I came to where I was blubbering tears just listening to the testimonials, actually. Just hearing that somebody wanted to get to the root of what was going on in my body and not just masking it. I would have been 36 or 37 at the time, and in my opinion, that's just way too young to be having symptoms of a heart attack or whatever it was, you know, that was in my body. I knew it wasn't right. I knew I was too young to be having them. So it was, it was just nice to hear that other people had success and that there was another option out there. Prior to coming to Livewell, I was on daily inhaled steroids and on prednisone regularly and allergy medicine every day for adult onset asthma that I had battled for about 9 years. And had been in and out of the hospital many, many times. My husband thought maybe I would even die from it a few times. And it got progressively worse. It got even worse through each of my pregnancies. And so I, through all the changes that were made, was able to go completely off of my inhaled steroids. I've been off of them now for 2 years and haven't needed them at all. Any cold that I've ever had, any kind of sickness, I've been able to get through it quickly. One of the things that I loved about when I was coming here regularly was the regular infusions I was getting. I was coming once, sometimes twice a week for infusions. And I think that's why we saw the rapid response in my body to everything that's here. I will say that the IV infusions helped with just balancing all of my hormones and just the vitamins and minerals that your body needs. And I was able to ward off sicknesses from it. There were a few times where I felt sicknesses coming on, and I was able to come in and get an infusion, and instead of being down for a week or two with something that in the past would have taken my lungs way off course, I was able to just kind of minimally have any kind of sickness. Sicknesses were short compared to what I had experienced before. I haven't been on any prescription medicines for over 2 years now. I have not been on my inhaled steroids, prednisone, anything that I used to take regularly. I have not been on at all. My favorite time of coming here was sitting in the chair and having the nurse to just chat with about different things for half an hour. They're a wealth of knowledge. I remember learning that is it a tablespoon of sugar shuts down your immune system for enough time for you to catch anything that's around you. Just a lot of things that they just make sense when you think about them. So I know that I need to stick with no sugars, as I know my body doesn't respond well to it. The most important parts that I learned was how food affected my body, learning what my body was intolerant of, learning that the foods that were the most intolerant on my list were the foods I were eating every single day. Learning that some of the medications that I'd been on prior were medications that suppressed your immune system. And so learning that I was getting sick over and over and over again because my immune system was being just completely shut down and had no way to defend itself. I hadn't seen under 200 for a very long time. Every person I saw would comment on how I looked, and it was great. I had self-confidence. I just felt really good about most everything. I'm even a singer, and so even my singing voice changed when I lost weight, all the extra pressure off of my lungs. So it just affected me in every way of my life. I was able to give my son, who was a senior the year that I went through this process, the best of me, his senior year of high school. So when I was being diligent with the plan and sticking with things, I had lost 46 pounds. Now that I haven't been so diligent, I have put a little bit of that back on. I let the excuse of stress kind of creep in, and the little fox spoils the vine, and just little bit by bit, until the occasional stop at the fast food place that has the gluten-free hamburger bun, to once a week, you know, or like whenever I didn't have anybody else around to witness. All those little coping mechanisms I had with stress before were showing back up. I had these little moments of, maybe it's not paleo, maybe it's at least it's gluten-free, you know? And so I went from being grain-free, which I know my body responded to very well, to little bits of gluten-free breads or just little things. And it's just, for me, I really have to be an all or nothing person. I know how much work it takes. I should have known better, and I thought that I was in a really good place mentally, but there's triggers in life, and so if you don't deal with those triggers in the right way, both emotionally and physically, then they're bound to come back up. But for me, that's when it started to go downhill, is when I started to step away just a little bit and a little bit more and a little bit more. And for me, it was, I went too far with it. I didn't rein it back in, had a stressful time. My oldest graduated from high school, you know, just little things that I allowed stress to be an excuse for me to indulge a little too much. What I know is that I really liked my body when I didn't have heartburn. I really liked it when my monthly cycles were almost symptom-free. I really liked having energy and not feeling like I wanted to sleep all the time. I really liked being able to keep up with all 4 of my boys and my husband. And so what I know for me is that I am greatly affected by sugars and carbohydrates, and that I need to focus more on proteins and good fruits and vegetables, and making sure I have the right vitamins and minerals. And I wouldn't let naysayers, I wouldn't let anybody else talk you out of it. If you've made your mind to do it, then do it. There are gonna be people who do not understand this natural method of healing your body, and that's okay. They don't have to understand. It's your body. You need to be the one in charge of the decisions that are made with your body. Go at it with everything you have.